Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're talking about my best games of all time. This is for the year 2023, my top 2,121 games at time of recording. And now we're into the top 60. So this is from 60 through to 51. I did tease that a worker placement game is here at number 60. This is with the expansions. I recommend both expansions, the player mats, the jail and stuff like that. If you haven't worked out what I'm talking about, it's the first in the West Kingdom trilogy games by Garfield Games and Renegade. This has been designed by S.J. McDonald and Shem Phillips, and the game I do not have in question unfortunately, but it is Architects West Kingdom with Age of Artisans. Now Architects West Kingdom was a game I think I shortlisted as my second favourite game, I believe of 2018, I think it may have well been, or maybe 2019. And with Age of Artisans, it's the second expansion, so it adds a bit more stuff, a bit more mixing up of varieties, and I do recommend checking that one out. But let's talk about a game that I also recommend that is in a worker placement genre, and that is a few other games that you might want to check out, and that's on the podcast that I do talk about. So up next, we have a solo to multiplayer game that is a cooperative game, and that is Thunderbirds. This is by Matt Leacock, who's behind Pandemic, so I recommend you check that one out. And I'm only 2 plays from Hot Zone to be my 99th game I've played at least 10 times. Next up, we have got another cooperative game. This is in the Harry Potter universe called Hogwarts Battle. There are some errata issues with it. It's a lot of time to play. In 2 days, you can play through the entire thing. I recommend checking it out. But next up, a fantastic Euro that I got at Spiel 2022. Lorenzo Il Magnifico Big Box. Highly recommend checking this one out. This is a fantastic worker placement game, another worker placement game. It takes place over 6 rounds by some fantastic Italian designers set in Italy in the 15th century. Highly enjoyable, and I do have it sleeved as well. The next game I also have as well, and that is Cartographers. Now this particular game is by Jordi Adan, and this is Thunderworks Games. I've played through it many times. I've played the mini expansion, all of which are available on the channel, along with Lorenzo Il Magnifico as well. I highly recommend checking that one out and watching my playthroughs as well, my solo playthroughs, some laminations I've got there as well. Next up, we have a much bigger box kind of game, a sandbox game. It's called Vindication. This was initially on Kickstarter. I was a bit skeptical when I saw some high reviews for it, but a kind of 9 out of 10 game pretty much for me. And next game I do have is a zombie themed game I used to own, I don't have it anymore, and that is Zombie Dice. This is where you roll dice, hit Yahtzee-like, and you're trying to get to 13 brains. Watch out for shotguns and footsteps and stuff like that. Next up, a fantastic game I do have sleeved, and that's called Elements. This is by one of the games, for you games I've played, which has a team behind it. So Elements, Prospero Hall being the other. A 2-player only game. You can find this in my 2-player playlist as well, so check out that, and also my Pixel Spieler playlist amongst others, and I think sleeving playlists. Very interesting, quite a bizarre game whereby you're trying to outthink your opponent as to what cards they might have, knowing 4 have been removed from the game, and whether or not you can actually have a lower total amount than they do than what's in the center. So check out my video for that as well. I think I've got a playthrough as well for that one. Next up, we have Obama Llama or Obama Llama 2. So here's an example of this. I don't know if I've done a video specifically for this edition, but I do recommend checking out this party game. So a very different kind of game in this category of this particular 10 list. But next up, we have got a game, which is another game which comes with an expansion, which I recommend checking out, which is Carcassonne. I think it's the 2004, 2002, I think, Game of the Year SPIEL.digital game, whereby it's 20-60 minutes, it's easy to teach, easy to learn, family friendly, highly interactive, and I recommend the first expansion, Inns and Cathedrals. I've played many expansions, I recommend checking out that one. I think it's the best expansion, and lots of other people agree with me that it's one of the best expansions in their own opinion as well. And that's it. The next game in the list is in at number 50. It is an interesting game involving card, I recommend drafting variant, and it is particularly with a promo as well. So it's a sci-fi themed game, so hopefully you find that of interest. The game after that is an IP themed game, which is a free IP. We've got some party games coming up. We've got a 2-player game. We've got a game that might well be behind me, or at least 2 of them. We've got some more games which might be only a 2-player game. We've got another party kind of social deduction game. We've got some abstract games and a deck building game. So look forward to speaking to you again then. For meanwhile, obviously please subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, like, let me know your comments on YouTube are best, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Occasionally competitions via YouTube and via Linktree. There are also ways to support the channel via Patreon. On Instagram, over 2,800 posts. And for now, back to the table.